The heat Within about a week, contemporary accounts describe roughly 36 other people afflicted in the same way. Dancing without joy, without rest, seemingly without the ability to choose otherwise. The number would keep climbing through the following weeks. Modern historians who have examined the surviving chronicles put the eventual total of dancers somewhere in a wide range, from as few as 50 to as many as 400. And that range itself tells you something important. The sources closest to the event were not keeping careful statistics. They were describing a spectacle that alarmed them, in language shaped as much by fear as by observation. Try to picture what this would have looked like to someone standing at the edge of one of these streets, watching neighbors they had known for years, moving in this compulsive, mechanical way. There was no celebration in it. Observers described the dancers as seemingly tormented, moving as though driven by something outside their own will, their faces reportedly showing not pleasure, but agony. Feet swelled and bled inside worn shoes. Bodies gave out from heat and exhaustion in the middle of a Strasbourg summer, only to rise again and continue once some strength had returned. For a city already primed to see catastrophe in every direction, this must have felt like confirmation that the worst fears were arriving all at once. Strasbourg's authorities did not sit by passively. They consulted physicians, and the explanations offered reflect the medical thinking available in the early 16th century, decades before germ theory or any modern understanding of neurological or psychological illness existed. Physicians of the period worked within a framework built on the four humors: blood, phlegm, black bile, and yellow bile. And they concluded that the dancers were suffering from what they called hot blood, an imbalance believed to inflame the mind and drive the body into involuntary motion. This was not considered a spiritual affliction by the city's medical authorities, at least not at first. It was treated as a physical illness with a physical cause, however mistaken that diagnosis looks in hindsight. And it was this diagnosis that led to one of the strangest civic responses in recorded European history. If hot blood was the cause, then the logical treatment, according to the medical reasoning of the time, was to let the illness run its course through motion rather than suppress it. The city authorities decided that the dancers needed to keep dancing until the affliction burned itself out. This is where the surviving evidence becomes genuinely remarkable, even as the exact details blur between firm historical record and later reconstruction. Strasbourg's council reportedly cleared spaces for the dancers to continue their movement. Guild halls, an open grain market, even areas near the cathedral, according to different accounts. Musicians were brought in, according to several sources, to provide rhythm for people who were already dancing causes for an event like this. That was simply how illness of this kind was understood by many at the time, and it shaped everything from the medical diagnosis of hot blood to the eventual way no one could stop and no one could fully explain, and a historical record detailed enough to prove it happened, but not detailed enough to tell us why. If you want more stories like this, real history told honestly, without the invented flourishes, subscribe, like, and leave a comment about which explanation you find most convincing. Because more than 400 years later, Strasbourg's dancers are still moving through the historical record, and we still don't know, not with certainty, what set them moving in the first place.